I want you to imagine yourself as the director of a Broadway musical. It's opening night. The lights are dimming, the curtain's about to rise, and every section of the orchestra is poised for that very first note. Those early show jitters are swirling through you as you hold your breath and hope that you've done enough to prepare your cast for tonight. This is where we are right now in the Stanford Ready journey. Ready to Link is the cohesive vision that connects every act, every instrument, and every team. In this module, we'll explore how each team, department, and goal harmonizes to create one organizational performance. You already know how to lead your own cast, but this is about leading in concert with others. When you understand how your team's work fits into the larger production, everything you do gains clarity and purpose. Because in healthcare, just like in theater, no one performs a solo for long. Every patient story, every improvement, and every data point, it all has to harmonize. That's the heart of systems thinking. Understanding how each role, process, and decision connects to the larger performance. When one section changes its tempo, the whole song shifts. And here's why that matters. We link our daily actions to the organization's bigger goals. We stop chasing noise, and we start creating music. We spend less time fixing the same issues and more time advancing the story we're all here to tell. So how do we make sure we're not all accidentally playing jazz when the score calls for Beethoven? That's where systems thinking steps in. Now let's hear from our leaders on their perspective.
When I think of system thinking, I think of stepping back from my local ecosystem and thinking about the people, the processes, the policies as it impacts a whole institution. I think it's important to speak systemically, primarily because when you don't, then projects that are well-meaning, well-intentioned don't work. They don't have the impact that they could have. They also have the potential of causing other issues, other complications in other areas. One example that comes to mind is our approach to hospital-acquired infection, particularly CLABSI prevention. And for a while, we struggled in getting our CLABSI numbers because we were really fixated in the local care of the central line. And then we started thinking about other things that impact our infection ratio for CLABSI. So the way we culture patients, our culture intensity, our diagnostic intensity, our antimicrobial stewardship. That's when we started moving the needle in CLABSI numbers, when we actually moved away from being line focused and we started thinking about the continuum of care for the whole line.
You can feel that tension, right? The example shared here is like one part of the system fine-tuning their sound while another part's figuring out the tempo. It's what happens when we optimize locally, but forget that melody travels downstream. When one department improves in isolation, it can throw off the rhythm for the next. Linking goals across the organization keeps everyone in time and avoids unintentional team dissonance. That dissonance isn't just noise. It's delays, duplications, missed opportunities, and even sometimes harm. That's why systems thinking isn't a nice to have. It's the only way to make sure every improvement builds towards better outcomes, not more chaos. One of the reasons we chose to leverage a theater theme here is a nod to Edward Deming, the father of quality improvement. He shared that systems are like orchestras, and for us, healthcare is one crazy complex system. So what's more complicated than just an orchestra trying to coordinate? Well, a theater production, of course. Deming had one incredible point that really resonates well here. Sometimes one cast member is at the forefront and others will need to step back and support. This applies to teams in healthcare too. We collaborate with other teams or within our own team to care for our patients. One physician is not the only person interacting with the patient. Sometimes it's the physician's job to step back and let another specialty caregiver step in. Let's hear more from our CLABSI example.
So in this particular example, we had a little bit of hiccup when we started thinking about diagnostic intensity. So we started putting some restrictions that at that time made sense to us when it came to hospital-acquired infection. In doing so, we impacted other work that was being done when it came to sepsis bundle compliance.
The magic happens when each section knows not just what to play, but why. What we're seeing in this example is the difference between playing together and playing in sync. Alignment isn't just about effort, it's about direction. When pharmacy, surgery, and nursing all see how their notes connect to the larger piece, suddenly the music clicks. The system doesn't just sound better, it feels effortless. That's how we start leveraging systems thinking in real time. We can ask questions like, who else is part of this process? How might our change ripple across the work? It's taking that extra moment to zoom out before acting, to see where your improvement fits in the broader score. Because when leaders think beyond our own measures and listen for the harmony between departments, we're not just fixing problems, we're creating sustainability. Here's how Javier ensures his teams are thinking systemically.
I think bringing diversity into your team. So do you have folks that can speak on how work is being done across multiple areas of your institution, multiple teams, multiple units? Having structures in place in which you can share best practices, or maybe even just visibility on projects so that, hey, I noticed that you're working on sepsis and culturing timely is important for sepsis. We're working on hospital-acquired infection. Overculturing is one of our key drivers. Maybe we should talk about how these could impact each other.
Systems thinking reminds us that every team, every process, and every decision shares the same stage. And when we listen to each other, to the data, to the ripple effects, we find harmony instead of noise. But listening in a complex organization takes more than good intentions. It takes tools that'll help us see the system clearly. Tools like value stream maps and swim lane diagrams can help us visualize how work flows and where it gets tangled. And one of the simplest but most powerful tools is the SIPOC diagram. It allows us to clearly show the suppliers, inputs, processes, outputs, and customers for any given process. When leaders use a SIPOC, they're not just mapping a process, they're identifying who contributes, what enters, what leaves, and who's impacted along the way. It's a way of zooming out to see that entire show cast instead of just your own section. So before we rush into the next section, let's take a beat. Ask yourself, is my team's melody in tune with the rest of the house? Because when the whole organization starts in the same downbeat, that's really when the show soars.